In this video, we are going to be breaking down the top 5 focus shifts to make 100,000 a month. Now, don't judge me with my beater on. If Alex Hormozy can do it, I can do it. But by the end of this video, we are going to make sure that you have some shifts that you know you need to make in order to be making 100K a month, and specifically focus shifts. Okay, if you don't know who I am, I'm Luke Anning. I help 6- and 7-figure founders scale without getting in their own way, basically helping them become the business owner that their business actually needs. We now have 7 people making 100K a month. We're very close to our 8th. And so with that said, let's get into it. So from point 1 is from scattered to selective. So here's the truth that most broke entrepreneurs won't admit. They're really busy, they're not focused, and they're piling up busier and busier work schedules. And there's a massive difference between from being scattered to selective, especially at a higher level. I had a client doing 25K a month, really talented guy. He was already making 20K a month from his YouTube channel, but he wanted to go and teach other people how to do it. And so when he came to me, he'd been making 25K a month. And this guy was a hustler, you know, like sort of on the neurodivergent, ADHD, maybe autistic level, and I think we all do have a little bit of that going on. But anywho, he had been stuck at 25K a month for 8 months, and you know, he had 3 business coaches, he had loads of work to do, but he wasn't actually doing it all. He was just sitting down to work. He was totally scattered, totally overwhelmed. He was sprinting in every single direction and then basically wondering why he wasn't moving forward. So I asked him very simply one question: if you could only work on one thing for the next 90 days, what would move the needle the most? And he knew the answer right away. And I'm sure so do you, but he wasn't doing it. And oftentimes the thing that will be making you the most success, the most money, is the thing that you're putting off and avoiding the most. And so the moment that he went selective, cut the noise, focused on that one most important thing, first month went from 25K a month to 57K. And then in the next month, went and made $101,000 in a month. And here's how you can make this shift. Number 1, write down everything that you're working on right now. Everything. 2, circle the one thing that if you nailed that would make everything easier or unnecessary. And then 3 is put everything on pause, kill it, and delegate the rest. And most people don't do this because it feels like you're giving up. But the 100K a month operators know, the 100K a month action takers know that subtraction is the fastest way to traction. But here's the problem. Even when you know what to focus on, there's something invisible stopping you from doing it. And that's shift number 2. Now, if you're not already subscribed, then make sure to go ahead and subscribe. We get a ton of people viewing this channel who aren't subscribed, and I want to make sure that I'm still giving you guys value and that you aren't missing things. And so make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Now, going into point number 2, you have to go from reactive to intentional. So you likely don't have a time problem right now. You have a default problem. And most entrepreneurs wake up and immediately they step into reactive mode. They check Slack, they scroll Instagram, they respond to emails. And by 10 a.m., they've worked for 3 hours, but haven't done anything that matters. And I used to be the same way myself. I wake up, and I honestly couldn't tell you what I did half the time in those first 2 to 3 hours because I was just rushing around and doing everything. And then I learned something whilst I was at a seminar from a guy doing 2 million a year. And he basically said he doesn't touch his phone for the first couple of hours of his day. So no email, no Slack, no socials, just 2 hours of deep, intentional work on the one thing that mattered the most. And that's the thing with you. That habit alone could be responsible for the majority of what your revenue was, the same as what it was for this guy that I met. And here's the shift that you need to make. 1 is decide the night before what you're going to focus on for the next day, for that little deep work block. You know, you can see behind me, we got the whiteboard here. So one of the things is shooting this video for you guys, because I know that I want to bring value to you guys. And so one of the things is that it's written down. 2 is protect the first 90 to 120 minutes of your day for that task only. Okay. And then 3 is no phone, no email, no distractions. Just go and take action. When you go ahead and do that, that is when you will have the shift. And it's not about, you know, effectively working more. It's about working from power, not panic. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Be selective, be intentional, but how does that actually lead to 100K a month? And that's what I'm going to cover next. So point number 3 is the entrepreneurs stuck under 50K a month are doers. The ones at 100K a month are deciders. Now, if you're not sure what I fully mean by that and you want to see what that looks like in more detail, we have another video that you should definitely check out called the top 5 identity shifts to make 100K a month. I'm sure we'll pop it up here. But anyhow, let's keep going. So I was coaching an agency owner about a year back. He was grinding 70, 80, 100-hour work weeks. And he was in every client call, writing every proposal, managing every project. And he was the best operator in the business. I mean, he literally led all the operations. And that was the problem, because so long as he was having his finger in every part of the work, he couldn't grow the business. And we have this concept of self-sabotage called FIRE. FIRE stands for false identity, as in you don't feel like you're the person yet that the business needs. It's like there's a separation in between who you are now and who you need to be. I is invisible rules. It stands for all the limiting beliefs, all the limiting patterns that you have. R is resistance. So anytime that you look to have more success, there's some sort of resistance where you tend to divert from the path. And then E, which is what this other business owner struggled with, is excessive control. And excessive control effectively means that you fully feel like you need to be the one managing and looking at everything. There's like a level of micromanagement, but also a level of perfectionism. So the shift was, for this business owner, what we needed the shift was not what do I need to do today and try and get as much done as possible, which, you know, there's some internal self-worth things going on there, but asking what decision do I need to make today? And within 30 days, he'd hired a project manager, built a few more team members up, built the SOPs, and started stepping out of the operations himself. And actually you end up going from 44,000 a month to 110,000 a month. And if you don't think I'm proving you right, we also have another video with Mitch, this business owner, on our YouTube channel. Now, over the next 2 months, he ended up going up to 320K a month. And so revenue didn't drop. It actually more than doubled. It hit 9x effectively over our time in our first 90 days. Because the reason being was he was able to have more of the mental space to lead, not just execute. And so here's how you can make this shift. 1, audit your calendar. What are you doing right now that somebody else could be doing? Number 2, make one decision this week to replace yourself in something operational. And number 3 is use that freed up time to make strategic decisions. A new offer, a better positioning, better hiring, better systems, whatever that's going to be. The 100K a month version of you is not doing more. They are deciding better. So here's where most people get stuck. They end up making these shifts, which is great, but then they don't hold them. And that's because of shift number 4. Now, real quick, if you're feeling this and you want a tool that actually helps you lock in these shifts, I've built a 5-minute reset guide. It's basically a daily reset that you can use to recalibrate your focus when chaos hits. It's totally free. Link is in the description. All you've got to do is grab it, use it today, and it's less than 5 minutes. That's the whole design of the thing. I like the little quick resets that I can do in the moment, and then let me know how it lands. So with that said, let's keep going. So point 4 is from willpower to systems. You cannot willpower your way to 100K a month. Hey, you might hit it once, but you're not going to sustainably hit it. You have to systemize your way there. So I used to genuinely think that discipline was the answer and that I was the hardest worker in the room. Just grind harder, just push through. And for a while, you know, that worked until it didn't. Because willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. And when it runs out, you start falling back into old patterns, things that don't help you. You know, for me, that was going and smoking weed, going and watching porn, all sorts of like negative vices that really weren't helpful for me whatsoever. And I watched this happen when I also saw a coaching client who would have had incredible months, but then have total chaos. And he built momentum. He'd have this big upward swing and then sabotage it every single time. And the reason why is because he was relying on motivation instead of structure. But the moment that we built systems, daily non-negotiables, weekly reviews, a practice so that he could have some check-ins regularly, everything changed. He stopped effectively relying on how he felt and started relying on what he'd already built and decided. And that's when he ended up hitting 100K a month and held it. And so here's the shift. Number one, identify the 3 to 5 non-negotiable actions that if you did them every week would guarantee progress. Number 2, make sure to fucking schedule them. Protect them. Treat them literally like client calls or like somebody's about to rock up your door, steal your favorite food. Like, go and protect that time. 3, build a weekly review where you audit, did I do the things that I said I'd do? You know, one of the things that we track with our clients is task completion rate. And so this allows us to understand how many of these things are you getting done versus not getting done. The things that you're not getting done, we can work out, hey, is that a systems issue where externally you don't have the right systems in place for your business or for yourself? Or is it an identity thing where we've got to go and use the FIRE framework to work out what's getting in the way? Systems will ultimately beat motivation every single time. The 100K a month entrepreneurs that we work with don't rely on feeling inspired. They rely on doing what they say they do by installing the systems that support them. Now, here's the question you're probably asking. Okay, but how long is this all going to take? And that's the 5th shift. So shift 5 is from someday to 90 days. Most people are living in this someday mode. Like, oh, it'd be nice to make 100K a month. It would be nice to do this. Or like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but I'm not really ready for that. I'm not that type of person. Or, it's like, it's greedy to want that much. But here's the thing. I was talking to an entrepreneur who'd been working on the same goals for about 2 years. 2 years. And when I asked him what his 90-day plan was, he was like, what do you mean a 90-day plan? I just do what the business needs at the moment. And can you imagine that? Like, you have a vision for changing your life. You have a vision of being able to, like, walk into rooms and be the person that people look up to, or being the person who gives advice to others, or, maybe helps your team out or makes things more stable, whatever that is. He had this dream as well, but he had no deadlines on any of the commitments he needed. There was no clarity, no commitment. And so we did something very, very simple. And you can do this as well, is we mapped out one 90-day sprint with one goal. And so then what we did from there is we reverse engineered what do you need to do in the next month to hit that, what do you need to do in the next week, and what you need to do in the next day to hit that. That's it. And in 90 days, he ended up hitting a revenue breakthrough that he'd been chasing for 2 years. And the reason why is because urgency creates clarity, and clarity creates action. And so here's the shift for you. Number 1, pick one revenue goal for the next 90 days. 2, reverse engineer that into what you need to do in the next month, the next week, and down to the next day. And then 3, break those actions into weekly milestones and then track that shit ruthlessly. And so here's the reality. These 5 shifts are really, really simple, but simple does not mean easy. And if you're serious about making them, you need to get some support. You need to get some structure and a way to install this so that this becomes a well-oiled machine, a regular operating system. And that's exactly what I help my clients do. So if you're an already successful entrepreneur, you've made multiple 6 or multiple 7 figures, you've got proof, you've made money, you've signed clients, but you're somehow getting in the way a little bit. There's an extra 10% or 20% or 30% of you, and you're ready to become one of the people that we actually talk about on this channel. And not only that, but also the next level leader that your business requires. Let's have a chat. All you got to do is book in a call down below with me. Be a quick 15-20 minute catch up just to see if we can actually support you. I work with a very small number of entrepreneurs, and that's all there is to it. It'll just be a quick chat. If I think that there's going to be some resonance with what we do, we might book a little bit of a longer call. If not, I'm going to point you in a different direction. So with that said, those were the top 5 focus shifts that you need in order to make 100K a month. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure that you give this a like. This only spreads by you spreading it. So if you got some value from today, or somebody that's a little chaotic or whatever that is, or you just have somebody that is your absolute business bestie and you think, hey, I think they'd get benefit from this as well, then make sure to go and share it with somebody that you know and love. So with that said, I'm Luke Anning, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye.